A wonderful and glorious good morning to you. See any clouds up there anywhere, anybody? Nope, we just heard a blue jay maybe, if you could pick that sound up. Oh, what another awesome day. And I have to wonder, as we move into this week, our Old Testament lesson for this coming Sunday comes from another one of those little known prophets. I call them little known because they're small prophets. They had a little bit to say, but they had important things to say. And I'm weaving my way through the jungle here. This prophet is exactly who a lot of people name their kids after, believe it or not. Zachariah. Yeah, kind of a cool ring to the name. Now, just in a nutshell, Zachariah came and spoke to God's people. Boy, got a lot of sunlight coming in behind me. Wow, powerful stuff. But Zechariah spoke to God's people in a time after the last prophet we just talked about, which was Jeremiah. Jeremiah was before and during the conquest that Babylon had over the people of Israel when they carried them off into captivity. Now Zechariah comes after that. The people have been in exile for 70 years. Now it's a whole new generation of people. And the Babylonian Empire kind of crumbled around the corners, and now it's fallen apart, and the Persian Empire had taken over. And when the Persians came in, they looked at all these people from Israel and said, hey, you guys want to go home? Go ahead, go home. Well, the good news is a lot of them did go home. Well, a lot of them stayed behind too, because by now, after 70 years, and this is the only life they knew, they were pretty comfortable living there in Babylon, and so they stayed. But no, there was a good remnant went back, and they did their best. What I mean by that is Jerusalem was in shambles. It had just been destroyed. And so they worked hard to bring the land back to productivity. They worked on rebuilding the temple. But you know something? It was kind of a bust. It just didn't work out the way they wanted. And so the people were extremely disappointed. Disappointed not only in themselves, but also in God. Like, God, didn't you promise us through those other prophets, those other guys like Jeremiah and Isaiah and all that stuff, that, hey, things were going to get better? And they haven't. We probably would have been better off staying with the rest of them back in Babylon. Well, along comes Zechariah, and we're going to hear a couple of other things that he had to say this week that are kind of cool. But he talks about the people being prisoners of hope. Isn't that a kind of a weird saying? He said, you're just a bunch of prisoners of hope. You need to let go of that so God can work some mighty stuff through you. Prisoners of hope. Aren't we supposed to be people who are hopeful people? Looking forward to a better future, not only for ourselves, but for our kids and our grandkids? Well, the answer to that is, of course we are. But that term, that phrase, prisoners of hope, it's not what we think it is. See, there's the word for hope that's translated that into our English from the Hebrew is kind of a tough one to get a handle on. It's not the positive type of hope. It's more the selfish type of hope. This is what I want. These are my dreams. These are my desires. And not that that's always a bad thing, but it can be centered on the self, right? Rather than on others and what God wants for us as his people. Zechariah says, you got to give that up, folks. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit more later this week. Give it up. for God. He'll show you the way. He'll show you the way. Things haven't worked out the way you wanted them to, and they're not going to either. Things are different now. I have to wonder if there's not a little bit of a parallel with what we as a nation are going through right now with this pandemic, even the world for that matter, where there's such a rush to get back to what we want and the way things were, the good old days, that we've forgotten that we're still in the midst of a crisis. And look what's happening right now all around our country with the spikes of people getting sick with the virus again. It's just not a good scene at all. Maybe we've been prisoners of hope, and not in a good way. We need to hope in God's way. Zechariah is going to have a good word for the people. But the first word is, let go of what you thought were good hopes, because you're looking in the wrong direction. Instead of looking into yourself, look to God. He will show you the way. This looks like the beginning of a great, super fantastic week, I hope. Did I just say that? I hope? Well, yeah, I do hope. And it is my hope and desire for you, in a good way, that you have a great day and have a great week as well. So hang in there. God is there for us. God is there to bless us. God is there to show us the way. Jesus' love is the way. And that is what we're going to see coming out of Zechariah a little later this week. God's blessings be with you all.